Capricorn, hello. Welcome to Coffee, Sage, and Tarot. It's been a hot minute. This is going to be your monthly reading for July 2025. I know we haven't done a video in some time. I apologize. Life gets busy, as you know. But here we are, and let's check out July for you, okay? Show me Capricorn for July. Show me Capricorn for the month of July 2025. Show me Capricorn for the month of July 2025. Last time. Show me Capricorn, please. Thank you. The Tower. Change, disruption, uneasiness. Oh, this is oh wow, this is big. This is big. All right, Capricorn, so some major change and disruption is headed your way. The reason I say it's major is because we have the major arcana. There is no minor happening in this spread, at least on the outset for you. So July is going to be a big month for you. I would say buckle your seatbelt. It's time to get ready. Okay. The good news is that underneath here with underneath that tower here, we have the Hanged Man, Justice, the Emperor. So we're sliding into some new perspective here, making a decision and then acting on that decision. So the Tower, I would say, as a result of that, you are stepping up. Ace of Pentacles in the shadow here. This is really lovely to see for you, Capricorn, because you are a Pentacle sign, right? You are Earth sign. So this change ultimately is an opportunity for you to either reinvent yourself, get back to what matters, but the focus is ultimately to get back to who you are, Capricorn, and get back to who you're meant to be. Okay, so a bit of a tricky July, I would say, but ultimately going in the best possible way in terms of you taking that control and kind of that ownership over whatever may be taking place, okay? And look at that on the split. That's really lovely to see. So we've got that Ace of Pentacle and that Six of Wand energy, right? So some sort of recognition here, being successful and being recognized for that success, right? So it seems like you are headed in the right direction here, but we'll go ahead and get some clarifiers. Let's get some clarifiers for Capricorn for the month of July, please. Let's get a little bit more clarification for Capricorn, please, heading into July. Let's get a little bit more clarification for Capricorn heading into July. And last time. Thank you. I also just realized you might hear that, so sorry about that. All right. Okay, let's see here. Okay. So for this tower, we have the Six of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, and the Nine of Swords here. It seems like what you... Something about your physical landscape is affecting you internally. Very vague, I know, but that's what you're showing me here. Maybe some changes to where you're giving your time, energy, or effort in your physical landscape here has caused you to question some things, or some things haven't gone your way. And so that's what is causing a little bit of torment here and causing that disruption. It's almost like there was a failure or a perceived failure. Something didn't go accordingly. And so now that tower is coming in and you're more or less kind of having to deal with it. And it's not a nice feeling. Just going ahead and clarifying the rest of these cards here to see what comes out. Okay, for that Hanged Man, we have the Three of Pentacles, the Hierophant, and the Six of Cups here. So in that new perspective, not necessarily moving so much, right? So on the outset here for July, yes, that tower is going to bring some disruption, some uncomfy stuff, right? Definite discomfort here. But what I'm seeing with the Hanged Man, Justice, and the Emperor here is not a lot of movement forward, right? Or in any direction, okay? You're trying to figure out what to do next, or at least come back into who you are, Capricorn. Okay, going a little bit further with that Hanged Man, as I said, we have the Three of Pentacles, the Hierophant, and the Six of Cups. Hierophant is Taurus energy here. Three of Pentacles, that's you, right? Starting fresh, perhaps being a little bit more consistent or being a little bit more diligent in routine here. But within whatever that routine is, you're allowing for some generosity to yourself, you're being kind. Okay, it's almost like in this new beginning, or what kind of happens after this tower kind of does its damage, you're rebuilding in a way that is kind of embracing a little bit of the softer side, the more emotional side here, and kind of letting that hold its own weight. So with this Hanged Man, it feels like we're here, we were focusing on tangible results, right? Seeing that in the physical landscape, and a disconnect between that and what we perceive. And here it's a little bit more trusting in the emotion, right? Even in the intuition of that, trusting what we can't see, right? And I'm trusting in the unseeable things, right? Like intuition, like trusting our gut, like trusting that we have the right stuff inside of us, even if we can't back that up with data. Okay. And so kind of making allowances with that Hierophant there, making allowances in your life to allow that, that kind of unquantifiable stuff to be a part of that routine. Okay, so there's a little bit more freedom of emotion there, a little bit more freedom of expression, I would say, and really taking into count what matters to you on a very deeply personal, very vulnerable level. Okay, with Justice here, we have the Nine of Wands, Strength, and that Four of Cups here. So again, we have the 9 and the 9, right? And these are the brutal nines, but that is a cycle coming to an end. With Justice here, and then with that Strength card in the center, I'm almost getting like this idea of like the indomitable spirit, right? And still you persisted. And still you found that strength. Oh, and you know what's interesting too? It's like, okay, at the center of this reading, we have the major, 2 minor, major, 2 minor, major, 2 minor. Yeah, so this does feel very important. This is a very transformational month for you, Capricorn. And it feels like at every layer we are getting that indication. Okay. Sorry, coming back to justice here and getting a little bit more clarification on that. It looks exhausting. I won't beat around the bush on that. It looks exhausting, and it looks like part of you is resistant, or perhaps you're fighting that urge to close yourself off, right? There's an acknowledgement here with strength coming in the center here of this. It feels like you're trying to connect to, and Sagittarius was kind of like this as well. Was it Sagittarius or maybe Aries? Connecting to the softer side, right? The more gentle aspect of who you are, and allowing room for that to kind of flourish and for you to step into that. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here with justice. It's like you've made a practical step to allow yourself to open up and embrace that emotional vulnerability just a little bit more, right? Because of whatever is happening here, okay? Or in addition to that, or this tower is allowing for that opportunity because it's kind of breaking a certain facade away and allowing that moment or that opportunity to happen for you. This feels pained, and it feels like you're hesitant or resistant, or you're fighting that urge to resist diving into your emotion. You're like, I've made this choice. It's not easy, but I've made it. Here I am. I'm not necessarily feeling my best or looking my best, but I am here, and I'm trying to be here and be present despite my urgings or my despite my inklings of not wanting to be, despite it being uncomfortable. I'm here, kind of thing, right? Obviously for justice as well, this could be, if you work in the legal system or if you work in some sort of law field, it could be as it relates to work, Libra energy as well. I'm just getting this feeling that you're not sitting well with yourself. Like I'm feeling just physically nauseous here. So it could be like, maybe you're battling some illness here, and that's what's making, that's what's opening this door a little bit. Or just the fact that you're sitting kind of in discomfort, it's not a natural state for you, Capricorn. And so that's where that kind of unease is coming through. Either way, challenge is in the solar plexus area. That's to say, it feels like your power is being pulled into question here. And I think for any Capricorn, that's a little bit of a challenging thing. And that's why there is such unease. Okay, coming into the Emperor here. So we do have that Aries energy. We've got the Seven of Cups, the Hermit, and the Nine of Pentacles. It's almost like, did we get lost in the sauce here? Like, where did things go wrong? I know where I want to be, or I've seen myself here, in terms of I see myself enjoying the life that I've made for myself, but where did I get it? Where did I get it wrong? Right? And kind of doing some sort of reflection here behind the facade of everything's okay, I'm in control, don't worry about me. There's some sort of, analyzing that's happening, that's going on here. There's some sort of reflection that is taking place in terms of where did things take a left turn. Okay. Nine of Pentacles here. You're not, do we have 999? Yeah, we do. 3 nines. I'm not seeing, I'm not seeing that this is disrupting your like what you've built for yourself. It's almost whatever this disruption is, it definitely feels more internal. But I know I said on the outset, it could be something didn't go your way and didn't go according to plan. It went wrong, but it's not something that's slipping you all the way back down that ladder to kind of have to start at ground zero again. It feels almost, yeah, more of an internal, it opens the door for more questions internally than it, you know, than externally. It affects you, whatever this is. It feels like perhaps in your physical landscape, it could be viewed as like a minor hiccup or a minor inconvenience, but whatever that is sparks something inside you that feels more impactful internally, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, just hopping into your shadow here. For the initial clarifiers, as I said, we have that Ace of Pentacles, we have the Three of Wands, and that Hermit showing up. So we have the Hermit, and isn't that funny? That Nine of Pentacles, right? So yeah, so some reflection on who you are, who you're meant to be, who is Capricorn, and what are we going to reflect on here? Because that is what we're seeing. There, it's almost like there's, you know, similar to Aries, there's this idea of I need to explore my emotionality a little bit and figure that out, because that's where the missing step seems to be, right? Yeah, interesting here, right? We talk about emotion, so we have Justice, Queen of Cups, right? The Queen of Emotion, that the Queen of Intuition, at least as it relates to minor arcana, right? So Justice, making a decision to dive deep into that cup where we are greeted with tension, we're greeted with conflict, right? It's an uncomfortable space, but it's a necessary space to dive into to see where our perceived weaknesses are, where our strengths are, where we feel neglected, right? At an emotional component. And it's kind of like, how do we even navigate all of this together? Well, in that reflection, by employing our Hermit to say, okay, where did we go left? Where did we deny part of who we are, right? And that feels quite, like I said, impactful for you through the month of July. We have the Star here, right? Aquarius energy. And again, you know, that mental battle, right? Trying to figure out, okay, we don't feel right. We don't feel good. We feel challenged. Despite this perhaps being a minor hiccup here, it's affecting deeper. And so the work, it's opening the door for you to do that work on a deeper, more personal level to you, right? The Star, she's vulnerable there, but there's a strength in that vulnerability, kind of going through that tower and coming out of that wreckage renewed, purely her, right? The good, the bad, the ugly is there, but there's hope there, right? There's a knowing of self. There's a bear it all, because I know what I have to bear, right? I know my pain and I know my cup, right? So very much this component of emotion. Let's get some more clarification here for Capricorn. Let's get some more clarification for Capricorn, please. Let's get some more clarification. Last time. Let's get some more clarification for Capricorn. Thank you. Okay. Four of Pentacles. Yeah, that reads as like you're, you know what? I'm not going to speak on that until we get the rest of the cards here. Strength. Strength. Four of Swords. Page of Swords. The Star. The Emperor. Well, this tells its own story, doesn't it? Three of Wands. The Sun. So the shadow here, and I love the imagery of these cards, but in your shadow it tells its own story, right? So we have strength, that inner strength, right? As I said, that solar plexus discomfort that you're feeling. Leo is great for getting back on track in that, knowing that you look good, knowing that you feel good, but feeling good from that inside out, right? That sort of component. And that comes from being in tune with your emotions and that kind of more feminine side, that more, quote unquote, softer side, right? Four of Swords, quieting this mind, quieting this discomfort here. Almost, mindful meditation to clear up and really work through what needs to be worked through, right? Page of Swords, implementing that new thought, that new perspective, right? Taking on or taking wholehearted, pure action into new thought and employing that thought across different aspects, right? Integrating that into your day-to-day life. The Star, right? As I mentioned here, we have the Star, right? Renewed hope, renewed vision, finding that strength after coming out of that turmoil. Okay, then the Emperor, taking control, right? Three of Wands. Now is the time to explore all of this and to be renewed underneath that sun, right? To have that feeling of that sun touching all aspects of us, because we know all aspects of us, the good, the bad, the ugly, the emotional, right? The uncontained, right? And so really kind of beautiful energy that's trying to come through here with this Four of Pentacles. I feel the resistance, but in that resistance this is you also at the end of your card cycle, right? You're 2, 3, 4. You are a cardinal sign. And so this is you taking that next step, right? Furthering your path. So yes, it makes sense that you're resistant to this, but you're also here, present for this work. So your resistance, what this says to me is that your resistance is not stopping you. You are acknowledging it, but continuing on with the process, right? Seven of Cups, again, that idea of, confusion, right? Where did we go wrong? Where did we misstep? And that makes sense, to be honest, because if you very vaguely, if you look at your emotions as, oh yeah, those things, yeah, okay, but you don't take time to analyze what those emotions are or put names to them, or you don't decide to look further at emotions or at anything, right? It's going to be like, oh, this is scary, I don't know what to do here. It's going to seem like a big problem. But once you start looking at these things and you see, oh, this is this, and this means this, and this means this, it starts to make more sense, right? But it can be really overwhelming at first to acknowledge this whole aspect, perhaps, of yourself that you've been kind of pushing to the side. It can feel overwhelming, but only when you start analyzing it and looking at it and giving it the attention that it so craves from you, do you start to find the clarity there, right? So just like you're resistant to this work, but continuing it, you're acknowledging that this is confusing, but you can make sense of it and you can begin to navigate it. But it's difficult. It's not without its challenges, right? Three of Swords here, pain, right? This is painful. And that makes sense. And this does kind of make sense of why that uneasiness and that queasiness was coming up, right? There's a lot of discomfort here. You are not sitting where you feel like you should be. And even though you have, all of this success and, you're not kind of off track, you're not to you're not on the track that you would like to be either. And that's more internal, right? All of this is internal work. You're not where you want to be, for yourself, within yourself, right? There's a lack of what feels like security here, not physical, but very much internal. You don't feel secure where you sit. And that's a problem, right? And that's what we're addressing here. And it's uncomfortable, it's painful, it's challenging, it's confusing, but ultimately it's an opportunity, Capricorn, for you to get back to who you are, right? The time is now for that reflection, to dive in and look inward and do that work and really lean on that inner strength in order to continue on and keep on your path, right? Queen of Cups here, she really signifies that, right? She's open, she's free, but she also knows her cup. She knows her boundary. You can't know your boundary if you ignore your emotion, if you ignore that side of you, right? And this feels like an abrupt lesson, perhaps because some of you have been neglecting that side of you or that aspect of you for some time, right? Ooh, you gave me the chills here. Yeah, Three of Cups. Like it's a rough realization. Capricorn, it's a rough realization for you, but it is a necessary one, and it feels very profound for July. Very necessary, for sure. This is what I have for you. I know it's been a hot minute, so I really do appreciate you coming in and taking a peek at what July has to offer you. I really want to hear in the comments how, you're going back to your Ace of Pentacles. How are you getting back to you through the month of July, Capricorn? Please let me know in the comments. I really appreciate you being here, and I really hope that you appreciate this reading. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. You take care, okay?